Hello, everybody. It's your girl Ashley, the amateur expert, coming to you live today for this episode of Talk Tuesday. Super excited for today's guest. He is awesome. He is one of the main reasons he's the only reason that I know about Lean Academy, Felicia, and all of the folks. So I'm super excited to have you guys hear his awesome story and to also give him his flowers while he's still here. So he is in the room, so we'll get started. This is your first time joining. Thank you. Welcome. We're going to talk about Milton's idea of success, his career path, and his tips and motivators that he used along the way. He is here, so we can get started. Hello, Milton.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I am well. I'm super excited to have you on the show today.
Me too. Me
Super,
too.
super, super excited. So I started to say briefly how, oh, actually, I didn't say how, but you are the reason that I know anything about the Lean Academy and Lean and Sabrina and all of the cool ladies there. So I want to start by saying thank you for giving me the opportunity to be an uh, it wasn't graphic design, but I think it was a website something or
Yeah.
other
Yep.
intern
Yep. Yep.
for We Are Milton, no
Yeah, it was
MJC.
MJC. Yeah. So this was God, I don't know. I don't remember how many years ago. But MJC, we had our studio in New Britain. And like at the time, it was mainly a lot of nonprofit clients we were doing. And I'd connected with Sabrina and Felicia and those guys through a friend of mine who is actually my second client. My first client was Kay. I don't
Right. So,
right.
right. So I was working at the hair salon at Harris K,
Yep.
and I was helping
Working.
her. I was working hard, actually.
I
Those
know you were
towels,
working hard.
those towels would not have gotten folded without me being there. Um, because I was not good to be a wash girl, so towels was my thing. Um, but yeah, so then you started. You had done her website, and then she was looking to
Hmm.
revamp it some. So I was like, oh, let me look at it. I've done websites before, and she was like, oh, you should really talk to Milton. Blah 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 blah. And then I was just like, yeah, I don't know if I'm qualified, but let me see. So I reached out to you, and on your website at the time, you were looking for a intern, and I was just like, hey, here are my
Yep.
credentials, but Kay says I'm good, so maybe we can make this happen. You were very gracious, very super gracious enough to give me the opportunity. I think it was like a weekly thing. I would drive up to New Britain, and one of your clients was Lean, and I fell in
Hmm.
love with them and everything they stood for. But okay, enough about me and that crap. So, Milton, could you please introduce yourself to us? Tell us who you are and what you do currently for work.
Oh my goodness. So Milton Jackson, I would first say I'm a father, husband, um, and then I would say I'm assistant vice president of design and UX.
No big
Um,
deal. Hmm.
and so at the Hartford, which is a Fortune 200 insurance company based in Hartford, Connecticut. I'm also the founder of PicSpotter, which is a photography studio management app that is designed specifically for the photography market. And
Okay.
we try to cater to, well, I don't say we cater to, but our a core part of our market are African American and people of color who are, you know, amazing creatives in the photography industry.
Love that. Okay, so when you were a little boy, what did you
Yep.
want to be when you grew up, and what was the motivating factor behind that?
Oh my goodness. I wanted to be a teacher
Okay.
because I wanted to be like Mr. Doug McCrory, who is now State Senator McCrory, actually, in
Wow.
Connecticut. Yeah. So I wanted to be a teacher, and then I couldn't play basketball, so I always said I wanted to be a basketball coach.
Okay. Okay.
But that really clearly that didn't work out. Um,
Okay.
and then before I graduated high school, I wanted to be a radio announcer.
Really?
Yep, yep.
Okay. And
Always,
so,
thought I had the voice.
I mean, I think the voice is pretty good. Um, and it's never too late. Let's just start there. You can still be the basketball coach. You can still be an announcer. So what did you think success was though when you were younger?
Gosh, 90s kid, rap music, Bentley with 20-inch wheels, big mansion, maybe a yacht, dancing in leather suits, right? Like that's, I mean, you think about it, like at that time,
At that
that's what
time, no, that
success
was
was,
it with a
right?
few bands. Yeah.
Yeah, my definition of success has definitely changed.
Ah, okay. So tell us about your journey, right? So you wanted to be a teacher, and then it was the coach, and then it was a radio announcer. How did you get into the tech space? How did you get into wanting to be an entrepreneur?
So this was, I'd say, my undergrad. I was working on campus. I was at Eastern Connecticut State University. I was working in career services, and I was working with Dr. Walter Diaz. So there's always a consistent theme to my story, and that is mentorship, right? So I'll say that I'll say that now.
Love that.
Um, all of my successes, all of my achievements have a foundation of really, really great mentors. And so, I was working for Dr. Diaz, he's now the VP of Student Affairs there, and I was designing websites,
Mm,
and I was majoring in radio and audio production because again, I wanted to be the radio voice, right?
for sure.
And I failed a couple of radio audio production courses, right?
Hmm.
I was in my head, I knew the stuff academically, I
Yeah.
couldn't demonstrate that I knew the
Ah,
stuff,
okay,
right?
okay.
So then, I ran into an advisor, Dr. Stacy Close, who said, "Look, man, you just need to graduate, like get a degree, and then you could do whatever job it is that you wanted to do."
Love that.
And it just so happens that I wanted to be in the tech space, so I majored in history and social sciences, graduated 2005, and started my design career after that.
Great. And so you started your design career um working for someone else or for your when did
First,
you go
yeah,
ahead?
the first foray was for someone else. I worked for a really small design agency in New London. I won't say too many bad things about working there. Let's just say it wasn't fun.
Fair.
So, I did that for about 6 months. I left and decided to start my own business. And, that's when Milton Jackson Creative was born. It was then called the Block Group.
Mm,
Like back to my radio days, right? Like I had an entertainment company called the Block Group, and I
that.
just turned that into my design agency. And after a while, I realized that the moniker of the Block Group brand was me.
Mm.
And so, I ended up changing the name of the company to Milton Jackson Creative.
With that awesome
Um,
lion. I looked that up the other day.
yeah, yep, yep. I still got the poster upstairs, by the way.
That's really cool. Um, so what do you think success is now?
Oh, that success um, is happiness. And I really don't mean to say that to be cliche, right? Like, and a lot of people, oh, if you're happy, you're successful. But no, like really, if you're happy, you are successful, right? Like,
Yeah.
I live in a beautiful house. I have beautiful kids. I have a beautiful wife. Like my mom, my sister. We have great family relationships. And then my extended family is just amazing. And so now success to me looks like just being happy with everyday things.
Love that.
And the professional success mixes in there too, right? But for the most part, for me, success is really like the interpersonal stuff.
I love that. And so did you, when you decided to leave the organization that you were working for and to start your own business, was that because you weren't happy? And did you feel like you could have more success on your own, or like what was the driving factor in you making that shift to entrepreneurship?
Um, I I've always been entrepreneurial since I was 13 years old, selling mixtapes, right? Like I've always been entrepreneurial. And to see another entrepreneur um, run her business the way she was running her business, like the environment to me just wasn't great. So I wasn't happy. And I decided that I could do better. Like every other designer in the world says, like, I could do better, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And that's when I started the agency. The agency led to, like we had 69 really good bona fide clients, between higher education institutions to nonprofit health education organizations to organizations like Wean, right? Just like a plethora of really, really good, amazing clientele. Um, and that was really the start of my like true career ramp up.
Mm. And then, okay, and then now that you are back working, a 9 to 5,
Mhm.
what sort of what made you make that pivot?
So, like I've always done both,
Mm.
right? Like my entire career, I've always done both, and the two worlds mesh because the skill sets that I need to do one, like folds into the things that I do in the other. So, my career has always been like entrepreneur here and corporate guy here, and to be honest, like it's very rare that you could do well in both at the same time. Like I'm thankful and blessed that I've been successful in both, and been able to manage both at the same time. My wife might not agree with that, but um, like it's been a journey, and
Mm.
the reason why I end up sticking with both does not necessarily like some people are always like, oh, you want the stability of the regular paycheck. Well, I kind of enjoy people, right?
Hmm.
Like I enjoy people. I enjoy working with people and collaborating with people. And I can't tell you that there's two spaces that are just like really passionate spaces for me, and that is like the photography space
Yeah.
with the amazing creativeness of the people there, and then the design space. And I'll be honest, I don't want to let either one go. So
Yeah, no, that's real. And I appreciate you sharing that. And so I think this is the perfect time to ask this. What are some of the tips and motivators that you've used along the way to keep you going along your journey?
in the professional realm, I'll tell you one thing that I learned recently. So this is like fresh, within the last year and a half. Do the job before you get the job, right?
Hmm.
That's number one, right?
Tell
Like
me,
do,
tell me more.
yeah. So like, imagine, at least in my world, in my professional world, at the Hartford, I was the director of design, and in my role, I had two sort of responsibilities, like hands on the keyboard, actually designing things, but also managing people.
Okay.
And I aspired to be the top designer at the company on the digital side, right? That was my goal.
Okay.
Um, and I'll admit I had moments where I really struggled in trying to achieve that.
Mm.
And I had a couple people in my corner, in the executive realm that was like, here are the things that you really should probably be doing. If that is the where you're trying to
That's the
go, here are
goal.
the
Yeah.
things that you're trying to do. Here's the thing you should be doing. And essentially they were telling me like you need to be doing the job now, right? And so that's essentially what I started to do. So that's one thing. It's like do the job to get the job. And then once it started to become known that I was doing the job, it was a no-brainer for me to be promoted to the job.
Right.
Because then all of a sudden my boss was like, oh yeah, you already do that. Like, oh yeah, you already do that,
Might
right?
as
Like
well just, yeah.
exactly. So it just becomes like an easy conversation when it comes time to get promoted. The second thing is you've got to understand the difference between working hard and working smart.
Ooh,
Um,
that's so important.
yeah, like a lot of people think like I'm gonna go in here, I'm gonna get in at 7:30 in the morning, I'm gonna work till 6:30 at night. It's like I'm gonna treat it like a basketball team. I'm the first one on the court, I'm the last one off the court, right? Okay, that's great, but um, you can, while you do that, you could also be known as the person who barely gets the job done, right? And you're working really, really hard because you need to get to whatever the bar is, and that bar
Mhm.
is just the job.
Yeah.
Right? So if you're working smart, you understand, like, this is what I need to get the job done. This is what I need to knock it out of the park. Your goal is to knock it out of the park. And then when you knock it out of the park, you let everybody know that that ball smashed the car in the parking lot. Right? And that's important,
That's so dope.
because you don't get the recognition and the accolades by pretending to be the shy person in the room,
Ah,
right? Like, folks have to know who you are, what you're contributing, how you're contributing, and that you're a team player all at the same time.
that's amazing. And Felicia says that she has this running like spreadsheet or like Google Doc of all of the things that she's done. And so when it comes time, she's like, "Oh yeah, by the way, I've done X, Y, and Z," because it is important to keep those receipts. Um,
Exactly.
and I think for men, it's a lot easier to do so. And I think now in, maybe the last 5 to 10 years, women have started to step up to the plate, or not step up to the plate, but not be timid in their successes, right? Um, so thank you for sharing that. Nine and thrive and prosper on every side. Amen. Love that.
Hmm.
Okay, so you shared what gets you through on a professional level. And so I want to ask, and you also might have answered this, but maybe there's something we can dig a little
Hmm.
bit deeper. Something that you learned and you wish you would have learned sooner. Uh, what's something that, or maybe something else that you can share?
On well, I'll say on the entrepreneurial side, right?
Okay.
Like, the I think the key lesson that I learned, I started PickSpotter in 2014, and for the first, I want to say 2.5 years, we focused on building the product,
Hmm.
and we put the product in market, right? Just like super excited, like, oh yes, like we're done, we got it built, it's out, and it's like Field of Dreams, right? You build it and you wait for them to come, and nobody came.
Yep.
Um, the key lesson I learned in that process was, like, talk to your customer, like, understand, like, what do they want, what gets them motivated, what gets them out of bed, what is the thing that's keeping them up at night.
That's so good.
Um, and for us, we realized, like, the thing that was keeping people up at night was the fact that they, like, creative people aren't good business people, right? Like, they just, like, the financials, the spreadsheets, like exactly, like, all of that stuff is onerous, and it really, like, weighs people down, and
Incredibly heavy.
yeah, like, if you think about, like, the reason why a lot of small businesses fail, especially in the creative space, is because, like, you're just not good at paying the credit card bills, or knowing when to pay the credit card bills, or knowing profit and loss and how much revenue you've made versus
That
how
part.
much you've spent, right?
Yeah.
um, Talking to our customers really led us to a pivotal discovery. There's a lot of solutions out there in the like photography market.
Hmm.
Our goal was not to be another solution. Our goal was to be the simplest solution.
Yeah.
And that change that happened about 2017, right, led to a little bit of growth for us. So, we're excited about where we are.
That's amazing. And so one more time, just tell us a little bit more about your platform, who it's for, who would benefit from it, and then how they can get in contact with you, or download or whatever.
Yeah, so we PickSpotter is designed for professional photographers, and really anybody in the creative space, right? Anyone who needs the ability to, like, track invoices and send contracts, and send questionnaires to their clients and their customers. We cater specifically to the photography and creative market because that's who we are, right?
Yeah.
My team, it's me, Keith Clater from Tide Frozen Photography, Chanel Wells Henderson, who runs Always Images, and
Okay.
Trunette Atwater Photography, like, black owned business, right?
Love that.
Supporting creatives across the world.
Love that.
And check it out, pickspotter.com, on Instagram at pickspotter. which is why my handle is PicSpotter Milton, right?
Love that.
But like we cater to photographers and creatives, and like I said, our goal is to just be the simplest business management platform for photographers and creatives.
Perfect. So I'll definitely have all of that information in the show notes. People can are able to go back and listen to this on different streams. Milton, I am incredibly excited that we were able to do this today. It is definitely a full circle moment, right?
It is. It is.
It's totally full circle. And I think something that you said early on was that a lot of the success you've seen in your career and in life is due to mentorship, right? And
Absolutely. Yep.
so I want to thank you again because you really did take me under your wing. And unbeknownst to you, I've done all of these things because of because of that initial internship. So thank you again. Um,
Before we go, let me just say congratulations to you,
Thank
right?
you.
Affirmed Armor, totally excited about that.
Thank you. Thank
Um,
you.
being a Ween graduate, right? Talk about full circle, right? Like, just congratulations to you. Like, you talk about knocking it out of the park. You're really knocking it out of the park.
I appreciate you. And I'm going to remember what you say about listening to the customers because it's definitely being that creative. You like, no, this is my vision. This is how we do it. And then it's like, oh no, but you want it to look like this? All
Yeah.
right. So that was very great advice that I'm going to take heed to now. Um, but I want to say thank you. And I am the amateur expert and I know a little bit about a lot. So I would be remiss if I didn't ask you to teach me something. It could be a fun fact. It can be, something that I can use to answer a 200 or $400 dollar question on Jeopardy. Just any random tidbit of trivia or information.
Let's see. I will just say I will say this, and I think some of the guys who are watching this live right now will probably get this. I see Director Chase there. Chase and I go back like 20, 25 years,
Hey,
right?
Chase,
We'll always say like, get your ISO right,
get
right?
your ISO right.
ISO, get your ISO right, get your lighting right, get your right. So just something for you to think about. You could take away, and you can work on that.
I will thank you. I appreciate you.
It,
Again, this has been amazing. Um, Drop your socials or how people can get in contact with you. And yeah, this has been amazing.
yeah, thank you at PickSpotter and at PickSpotter Milton.
Perfect. All right, shutter speed. All right, thanks, Chase. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. And we'll be back on Friday for Asking for a Friend. Also, Affirmed Armor store is open, so you guys are more than welcome to check out the shop. And I don't know, you are enough. I am enough. Chase says call him. Everyone, have a good day. We'll see you on Friday.
All right.
Thank you.